Sound business returns now to TranzAct Technologies. Joining us is part of the leadership team here at the organization. First off is a senior partner with the organization, Dave Durchie. Also with us is Vic Seidahar. Vic is the Vice President of Logistics within the organization, and also Vice President Doug Call. Doug, let's switch gears a little bit and kind of change mode, if you will. Let's look at the parcel market. Okay. In your 2009 look ahead, you indicated that with the exiting of the DHL Express in the U.S. domestic market activity, that really has an impact on lots of other things that are going on. There are some real major changes in that parcel sector. Help us to make sense of what's really going on.
Sure, Denny. Let's take a look in regards to the U.S. parcel segment overall. It's been measured to be about a $65 billion business. When you combine UPS, FedEx, DHL, U.S. Postal Service, some other type of regional carriers, the small parcel segment for air and ground is about $65 billion. DHL's position in that marketplace prior to their announcement and drastic scale down of operations here in the United States, they were doing about $3.4 billion in U.S. domestic business. They had another additional $1 billion in international business. So they weren't a dominant player volume-wise, but the role they played was very important. Take nothing away from FedEx and UPS. They're both outstanding service organizations. But DHL role was sort of as that price leader. It's kind of keeping the big guys honest. And with DHL now leaving the domestic market, the impact that that's going to have on prices could very well be rather significant starting in 2009 and in the years to come.
Drill down with me a little bit more. Shippers have really lots of unanswered questions. They want to know more, if you will. So what does this, they would ask, what does this mean for my business? Or what will happen to costs? Or is service going to change? I mean, these have been great service companies, but will that change? And are there alternatives in the parcel market?
Okay, let's first off tackle the question of service, because when you need to have your package picked up and delivered to a customer or to a plant or facility to keep it operating, you know, that's job number one. And again, I come back to the fact that we still have some very reliable service carriers in the marketplace today to take care of the service that customers are going to need. Similar to what Dave and Vic pointed out on the LTL segment, parcel as well, because of the current economic state here in the country, has available capacity. So UPS, FedEx, the U.S. Postal Service, the regional carriers are going to be able to make sure that service availability is there to take care of customers. So let's make sure everyone has some peace of mind on that first. Secondly, in regards to alternatives, you know, everyone automatically assumes UPS, FedEx. But let's also take a look at the United States Postal Service and some recent opportunities that have been presented because of the change in regulations with the Postal Service. For the first time in their history, they're now able to offer negotiated discounts to large volume shippers. So this is going to be something that, quite frankly, here in late 2008, going into 2009, the USPS is still trying to really find their feet with how do they truly cost a customer. But in the years to come, I see that as being a very viable alternative, especially for residential customers today, for lightweight deferred type of packages. If shippers are in that type of mode, the USPS today is a very viable option. Also keep in mind that the Postal Service does not apply Saturday delivery charges if you need weekend delivery. They do not have a fuel surcharge at this point in time. So a lot of the add-ons, and we really get down to the total cost in regards to the last point of your question, what do customers need to look at today? They have to be real careful, Denny, that they just don't look at the rate and discount. They need to look at that total cost of moving that parcel, and whether that be an air or whether that be a ground parcel, it is the base rate minus the discount, plus all the accessorials, plus all the additional address corrections, etc., that could happen after the shipment goes out, and be able to have systems in place to be able to gather all of that data to truly understand the total impact of each accessorial on their shipping profile.
recently, on the record, addressed a number of changes in the parcel market. Can you kind of give us some highlights from that particular piece?
Quick recap of the four gentlemen that were on that? Certainly, Denny. I think first point was USPS as a viable option, and we explored a couple of those opportunities in my last answer. Secondly, though, let's expand a little bit on regional carriers. There are regional parcel carriers such as Eastern Connection, Speedy, Lone Star, OnTrack. And as we also take a look that changes in supply chain, and this is not just for parcel, probably even more so for the LTL and truckload segments that have been discussed already, but the shortening of the line haul. And this plays into the opportunity for regional carriers not to play a viable service option for shippers who always relied on your major carriers.
You know, pricing and variability concern shippers all the time. We're talking about an average price increase of 5.9%, but for some, my rates may go up 10%. And, you know, talk about concern, that would be huge in terms of the difference or the competition in the marketplace. So how can we better understand the impact of pricing for our business?
Three elements I would advise people to take a look at. Number one, as you're referring to, is what's happening here in the 2009 rate increase with the carriers. Secondly, they're going to also need to understand, take a look with a fine-tooth comb at their current contract. And then third point is to really take a look at their specific distribution patterns and services they use. Let me drill into each one of those a little bit more, please. Number one, you know, we've talked about, and you mentioned, the average increase of being 5.9%. That applies to the ground. The net average increase that's been announced on the Air Express product is 4.9%. However, if you take a look at the overnight air service level, that average increase between all zones and all weights for that service is 8%. If you take a look at the 3-day select product, all weights, all zones, that average increase is only 3.8%. So as I say, when customers have to really take a look and understand what services they're using and their distribution patterns, it comes back to, you know, how are my rates really going to increase? Another important aspect is this, that absolute minimum charge, and that is the short zone, what they call Zone 2, 1 pound rate. Is moving from $4.20 last year up to $4.57 this year. That's an 8.8% increase. And the reason that that becomes a key trigger rate is because most contracts that shippers have are going to have a clause in there that says your absolute minimum charge will be no less than the Zone 2 1 pound rate. So no matter what level of discount they have on their contract, that they think they're enjoying with the carrier, if they're shipping a short zone or a lightweight shipment, that minimum charge comes into effect. And if you're paying a minimum cost, that means you're not getting the full effect of your discount. So those are some of the things that carriers really need to take a look at and truly understand.